Coming to you from Blue Sox Academy, this is the Soxcast, and I believe it's the second time we're only recording from the Academy this season, and we're right around just past the midway point. The midseason All-Stars list for the PCBL was released, and right now your Sox on top of the West by 2.5 as of recording over Batavia, and joining me to talk about the success of the team, first-year coach with the Blue Sox, a nice addition with some older faces in Doug DeLight and Chris Amaya. Will Tucker. Will, welcome to the show, man.
Happy to be here. Happy to be here. Heard a lot about this podcast. Excited to finally get on.
We did talk about this, when you come to Utica, this is your first time obviously being here, and, you're coming over from Monroe College. Talk about your coaching background, even before Monroe, and how you landed here in the U.
Well, first, played baseball growing up all my life, and then played through high school. Going to college, I got an academic scholarship to go to the University of Tampa. Was naive enough to think maybe I could play there. Quickly realized I wasn't good enough, so did the next best thing. Joined the coaching staff there as a student assistant. Spent 4 years there. Won a World Series in 2019. Got to be involved in a lot of cool stuff. Did some player development stuff with the Yankees in a couple summers while I was a student there, since we were pretty interconnected. I was planning to go join the front office after my time, but COVID kind of threw things into the rails and wasn't a lot of opportunity. A lot of things shut down, so changed course. Ended up going to a private academy in rural North Carolina for a year. Coached there, ran all over the business operations. Realized I kind of, between my time in Tampa and there, kind of like coaching. Then I joined the staff at Monroe College in the Bronx this past year. Had a pretty successful year. Enjoyed being a full-time coach for the first time, and I'm all the way up here now.
And you're going from, it's funny, you draw the parallel to, the Yankees having their spring training facility in Tampa, and you end, ironically enough, ending up in the Bronx,
Yeah.
and now here in Utica. How much did you hear about this place with the baseball history and the kind of team that this Blue Sox iteration is at this point?
I've definitely heard a bit about Utica and history, the New York Penn League in upstate New York, and haven't really kept up though what's followed since then. My head coach reached out to this organization, put in good word for me, and then things kind of worked out from there, and I actually learned a lot more. The cool history that's gone on here since then, and honestly been very surprised. I'd be lying if I said I knew a lot about Utica going into it.
So I'm assuming this is your first, summer collegiate experience. Because obviously, you must be familiar with, because your players from Tampa, obviously, and even Monroe College, they would have to go to, summer leagues. But this is your first time coaching in a summer collegiate league. What's it been like so far for you personally?
It's definitely been a unique experience. It's definitely new and different versus university ball. It's a nice switch up, not having to worry about guys' grades and not necessarily the stresses that come from university ball. You get to talk to guys differently here. You get to communicate with them more, work with them more. I just focus on baseball and more low stakes environment, which I'm enjoying a lot.
And the guys that you do see on a daily basis, from what I can tell, they definitely have a very strong work ethic. And I see you doing early work with them all the time. And when you put in that early work, good things are going to come. And so far, you guys are in first place in the West. But let's just talk about this historic streak that you guys went on. 14 straight wins, PGCBL record, franchise record. How can you even describe something like that, being a part of it?
Yeah, pretty special 14-game win streak. Not many people have ever gone a streak that long. Once you get to 8 or 9, 10, you got something special going. Obviously, it takes a couple of lucky breaks, a couple of calls, a couple of things that you don't expect to work out that are working out to get to a number like that. And it was just a fun time. By win 10, we kind of realized this is pretty special and probably not going to be repeated anytime soon.
Let's hope this record stands for, gets there for several years. We talk about the Moneyball A's, by the way. Their record stood for, most people thought it would stand until the end of time. It only stood 15 years because the Cleveland Indians, about 5 years ago, were the ones that broke their record, at least in the American League. I think it was like maybe 21 over in the NL, but I digress. Now, obviously, when you have this long of a win streak, eventually, this is baseball. You can't go
That's true.
undefeated.
That is true.
So obviously there have been some rough patches where, some teams have picked you off, like Glens Falls. Watertown got you twice, 16-6 to end the streak, and then 9-2 at Murnane. But I mean, what does it say about this team that they responded by getting a split in Little Falls against the Diamond Dogs, and then gutting out a win, getting payback on Watertown just 2 days after they spanked you at home?
Yeah, it says a lot, honestly. I mean, you can't expect to win 50 games straight. Baseball is a long season, a lot of ups and downs. It's really how you handle those ups and downs. Never want to get too high, never get too low. Go from there. I mean, a tough stretch on the road a bunch, a lot of travel. It's probably the toughest stretch of the season. We're in the middle of it, going every day now, on the road a bunch. So, try to play the best baseball you can, show up, go from there.
So also I want to, obviously when it comes to summer baseball, you're going to have injuries. You're going to have some unfortunate departures. And I mean, we had a play where suffered not one, but two casualties on the same play in a doubleheader with Amsterdam. Brandon Duran and Easton Brenner collide. Brenner's done with a wrist injury, and I felt that personally. I've broken my wrist 3 times in my life. It's never a fun experience to be in a cast for 6 to 8 weeks. It's the worst. And then Brandon Durand, there's still a shot that he'll be able to come back, but obviously, in terms of like the losses, I think for Easton, it's a guy who he might not have the flashiest of stats, but it's the attitude and his demeanor in the clubhouse that can affect guys in the long run.
100%.
And then with Durand, I mean, I've never seen a kid, let alone a guy who's going to be a freshman next year at Kentucky, frame pitches like this kid.
Yes, Durand was a very toolsy player. Just shows you, I mean, the fact that 17-year-olds look like NFL linebackers now. It's a different ballgame out here, so better hit the gym for any of the kids watching. Yeah, Easton was a big loss. I mean, it's not just about what you do on the field, it's about what you do off it, especially some atmosphere where you play every day. You need guys that bring that life and that energy. You still got some of those guys, but Easton was definitely the main source of that. I'm not really surprised that after that injury, kind of on a little bit of a losing skid, looking to see who fills the clubhouse void that Easton left. So we're figuring it out. We're going from there, but definitely not two casualties. They both of them survived, luckily, but.
I mean, it was a nasty collision regardless. I mean, you got two legit high-level athletes colliding at full speed. I mean, I heard Brandon basically, he popped his shoulder back into place while he was on the ground.
Yeah, he did. Honestly, I haven't seen it. Actually, fun fact, that technically wasn't a collision because both of them never made contact with each other. They actually just both hit the ground simultaneously. One broke his wrist, one broke his shoulder. So, I mean, pretty terrible outcome, honestly. Especially when you thought they collided and they ended up not, according to both of them.
I feel like everyone in the ballpark, including myself, thought they collided.
So did I until about 2 days later, Durant said, yeah, we actually never made contact. We just ran by each other and both fell awkwardly. And I think that fell.
I mean, that's kind of like a Mandela effect.
Yeah.
Where, like you think you see something and then you just get like what?
Yeah,
No.
exactly. It's crazy, honestly.
So I gotta ask. I mean, you talk about this tough road stretch where you're playing a lot of road games, a lot of travel. I mean, but the Saugerties for a doubleheader, Glens Falls another lengthy road trip, a closer one with the Diamond Dogs in between. But you go to Elmira twice in the span of 4 days with a couple home games sandwiched between them. I mean, how do you even possibly handle that kind of travel situation? Make sure guys are rested and ready to go each day.
Well, this off day help a lot. Give them a little rest before we go over to Elmira. 2 trips. No one's looking forward to, but it's part of the gig. Got to travel, got to show up when you can, and those long road trips. You end up not playing your best ball sometimes, and try to not make it any worse.
So, and I'm sure Dougie has probably told you about what it's like in Elmira. I mean, it's a place that I've seen it at its peak where, I did a 4th of July game 8 years ago on a broadcast, and there were like 4,000 people there, which it's bewildering. I feel like it's not the same, but the demeanor of the Elmira fans, I'm sure stories have come along where Yeah, these Elmira fans, they like getting under everyone's skin, just kind of be weird. Anything along those lines you're hearing from Doug or even Chris, because he's experienced with Elmira fans too.
Yeah, but I've heard a little bit of Elmira, and the fans will get on me a bit. Not that I'm not used to, so
Valid.
we'll go from there. But excited to see what's all about. I've enjoyed all the unique environments that PGC has offered. I think every place we've been to, every place I've seen, got their own quirks, their own uniqueness, and I know a lot of people clown on them for some parts being old and some parts not being updated. But I think it's nice, honestly. Each place got their own thing going on.
All right, now I mean, what's your personal favorite road atmosphere?
I know it's an unpopular opinion, but I love going to Watertown. I think they got something unique going on there. I love the guy in the Hawaiian shirt who just basically walks around and with a microphone and does whatever he wants. I mean, it's on the border of Canada, so you already know it's a different place up there. And we've been there a bunch, but I think the park is nice, the place, and it's just a unique atmosphere that represents the area it's in very well, and I like it a lot.
Oh, okay. And I'm like, I feel like if you said Watertown and just didn't say why, I would be looking at you like, what? But since you explained it, okay, that has some legitimate validity to it. I buy it. Now, I gotta ask also, having two local guys being your like vocal leaders as third year guys, not only that, on field, Dewey Roden, Ryan Neas, both guys have been just raking, and Dewey just hit his second bomb Saturday. And I mean, Doug has had him for a while, but I mean, what's it been like watching a guy of his size, 6'5", all 240, 250 of them, just hitting the ball and spraying it all over?
Yeah, he's excellent. I heard a lot about Dewey and Rhino coming in this year since they've already been here for 2 years already. Dawes coming in, and they surpassed everything I could imagine in terms of their performance and who they are on off the field. I mean, they're really excellent players. And funny enough, they're both a Division Two and Division Three player at an age where everyone thinks they got to go D1 and D1 this. I mean, our two best hitters probably are two of our best hitters coming from small schools, and they're really mature, excellent players, honestly.
And Dewey, if I'm not mistaken, I think as of today, his career batting average coming into this year is 279. He's bumped it up 40 points just this year.
Yeah, I've heard Dewey has taken a large step up from years past, and I can only imagine he's very complete as a hitter. He's got everything you look for. Hits the ball at all fields. Like him up there with two strikes. Like him up there with guys in scoring position, two outs. There's not a spot you don't feel comfortable with Dewey hitting.
Yeah, and I think it also helps, he had Tommy John surgery, and he was a two-way guy and was a really good pitcher. He had an ERA under 2 and struck out 50 in like 36 innings.
He was quite the pitcher.
Yeah, and I think just the focus on hitting, only that, I think that's what's led to his offensive outburst. And Ryan Enos, a guy who's a solid 296 guy coming into the season on his career, he's taken a big step up in his game. And I know I told you this before recording. I mean, what are your thoughts on the fact that, he's on the precipice now of reaching the century mark in career hits?
Yeah, he had a monster year this year at school, so he may have taken a step up. Looking at stats there, really just hit almost close to 500, 10 bombs. Numbers you don't really see. So that's impressive. And ever since I've been out here, I've been really impressed. He's kind of a throwback, old school player type. You don't see too much of him, but really contact oriented, doesn't strike out much. Hits for a really high average, puts the ball in play. It's not a secret that, or not surprising, he's going to have 100 hits. He's a throwback player, definitely one that I've enjoyed coaching and being around.
So let's talk about some of the other position players. I know we've named a handful. Do you have any guys that, you probably worked the most with early work? And I also want to know, are there some guys who have been pleasant surprises or guys who you think maybe are underrated or undervalued on this group?
Yeah. First question. I work with Brady Short and Edwin a lot. They're always there, so we're always getting work in. So I've developed a nice relationship with them. Two different personalities, two different players, but they get along pretty well. And I'm just glad to see Brady come back from a tough injury. Didn't really get to play, so now he's finally getting an opportunity here, and he's been pretty successful. And Edwin, continuing to be a good player, getting better every day. And What was the second question?
Guys
The
that
underperform. Oh, guys that. Oh yeah, 100. Alex Camino. Shout out to him out of Limestone.
Big Al.
Definitely one of the better players we have. Definitely felt has fallen off many of radars. Doesn't throw too hard, little guy, but he'll get asked like the best of them. Guys don't hit him well. He knows how to pitch. He's a really strong player.
Yeah, Brandon Peterson, another local guy.
Oh,
I mean,
100%.
he started off, a little shaky. I think he got his confidence up in an exhibition game with the Mohawk Valley Buffaloes, and then his next start, he comes out and throws 4 perfect innings against the Newark Pilots. And I think up until Saturday, his ERA was under 1. This guy's got a very high ceiling going to NJIT next year.
100%. I was just talking about that with the coaches yesterday. The ceiling couldn't be more high for Brandon Peterson. You could tell he's getting more comfortable, more time spent here, especially as a high school kid. And another really good player, local kid. I don't know if it's coincidence that all the local kids happen to be most of our top players, or they just really enjoy playing here. Maybe they take it up a notch, but again, really good player, incredibly high ceiling, and great kid also. Like we just talked about, it's nice to see high school guys like Peterson and the other high school guys, and older guys like Ron Enos and Dewey, all getting along and doing their own thing. When there's not a lot of environments where that's going to happen, because that's a bigger age gap than most college teams, honestly. We're the furthest end.
Now, I got to ask with the, continuing on with the pitching, last thing on the pitching staff. Mid-season All-Star teams came out, and 2 of your pitchers made that, and both, ironically enough, from the University of St. Thomas. Evan Ash, Fresh Ash, as he calls himself, and then Jack Zupfer.
You're allowed to give yourself nicknames?
That's his Instagram handle.
Okay.
Yeah. But those 2 guys just absolutely lights out this year.
Yeah, it seems like I'm saying the same things over and over again. But again, 2 really good players. Ash pitched a lot at school. We kind of knew what we got going in. Yeah, he was clearly a good player. He's going to be a good pitcher in this league. Zuffer kind of an unknown. Didn't really pitch at all at school this year, and kind of been more surprising. Couldn't have 2 better kids, honestly. 2 better guys on the mound. And just really happy to have him here. As you can tell, our roster's loaded with talented guys, but also great guys. Really enjoy being around, which makes a big difference. Because with a 60-game schedule, 50 games, we're together every day. So if you're with a bunch of guys, you don't really like it. It turns into a long season on and off the field.
Now, I got to ask you, because in about 2 weeks from now, we already have one big jersey bidding night with Autism Acceptance Night, which is a huge success. But now, 4th annual Paint the Park night. The jerseys, from what I saw, absolutely sensational. Pink pinstripes, oh my God, sign me up. And you play the Diamond Dogs. I know it's an East-West matchup, but it's a rivalry nevertheless. And it's going to be, like the final week of the regular season. That's the home stretch. Dog days of summer. Just talk about the importance of, like being a part of a special night like this with, like this, the money's going to be even bigger for this, and obviously playing for a great cause and trying to get a win a big rivalry game as you try to not only clinch a playoff spot, but maybe even get that division title and the top seed in the playoffs.
Yeah, 100%. The Autism Night was extremely special. I was really happy to be a part of that. Everything about that was great. What the Blue Sox do with the local special needs community, I really couldn't speak more highly of it, honestly. So I just expect, great things again for this event. Good crowd. The jerseys are great. I love that we're doing stuff for a good cause. Those 2 nights are big because, as I can tell by the first one, I'm expecting as much of the second.
So obviously with the, the dog days of summer, this could, these kind of stretches, like it can make a team or it can break a team. And Utica, they've had great regular season success over the past few seasons, 2 division regular season titles, but nothing to show for it. Having no playoff wins, nothing. And obviously, I think Dougie's really wanting a ring. Chris Amaya really wants a ring. I know I do. But
anyone who's a part of anything wants a ring.
I'm at the point where I'm like, I need air to breathe at this point. But so in order for you guys to get over the hump and advance in the playoffs and win that ring that you guys all want, what do you think the biggest keys are in this home stretch and then taking with you into the postseason?
Yeah, we're definitely in the dog days of summer right now, but I think we got a resilient team. Last night could have easily been a game that was lost, like a 6 spot. going down big, not a lot of guys in the pen, and we kind of keep clawing back, and have one of our position players close it out. So and when it comes to playoff success, it really just takes it's good pitching, good defense, and a timely hit here or there. And we definitely got good defense. We definitely got good pitching. So I'm hoping for good things. I'm cautiously optimistic.
So I mean, so I gotta ask also. I mean, just for this upcoming week, I mean, you have it's tough road stretch, two games, 4 days in Elmira, but you play the Diamond Dogs at home. Watertown, we're playing a rare Thursday home game because we don't like competing with Saranac on Thursdays.
Yeah, I've heard many things about Saranac Thursdays.
I mean, we're doing the unthinkable, but I gotta ask also. I mean, I'm sure Dougie's probably talked about the player we're inducting into our Hall of Fame on Saturday. He'll be here, coming all the way up. He's from Louisville. I think he lives in Atlanta now with his wife. He's flying up, Robbie Young. And I mean, and Robbie also, like when Ryan and Dewey were just young pups, Robbie was the captain of that team. I mean, so for something like that, I know you didn't get the chance to coach him, but like how important is it, to get a fresh face in there, a guy who's been there and has made a big name for himself, leading the league in hits in 2019, en route to getting a Hall of Fame nod. I mean, I feel like that's got to be a breath of fresh air. Obviously, familiarity with Rhino and Dewey, and then just the wisdom he could share being a former JUCO guy, founding JUCO product, and educating the JUCO guys and everyone else about what it means to be a Blue Sox and how important it is to win here.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely done a lot on and off the field, many great things, and it'll be nice to see. I mean, for the young guys to see what could happen once you graduate and are done playing, and what the future could look like if you're a good dude and you do the right things on and off the field. And it'll be a nice way to break up the monotonous of the schedule. And I mean, you'll have some familiarity with those two guys that play on the team. And again, we always like to connect the history with the present, and I'm sure it'll be a great time for everyone involved.
So that's just one of a lot of home games coming up. So that's Saturday, July 16th, and then looking ahead to the rest. Again, I mentioned 12th and 15th at Elmira. Home against Diamond Dogs in Watertown, Wednesday, Thursday. Jamestown, the Jersey's retirement of Robbie Young Saturday. And then Bark the Park, exhibition action against Syracuse.
My favorite day coming up.
Oh, you got any good boys or what?
I do have a dog. Shout out to Teddy. The Cavacoos at home. Hoping to bring him up for Bark at the Park, but unfortunately his current caregivers are not able to bring him up. But, I mean, I'm excited for everyone. I know it would have been a dog there.
Oh yeah, so I mean, we gotta have the Bark of the Park because listen, we got guys with that who's got that dog in them.
Yeah.
Period. Will, thanks again for the time. I really appreciate it. I know this was weeks in the making, really, but it's good that I got you on. We obviously appreciate everything you're doing. I'm sure the players and the fans all agree with that, and we hope that you're and obviously one of the best coaching staffs in the league. There's a reason why we have the second best record in the league, best in the West, and definitely a group that you're molding together into a championship team. So, thanks again for the time, and again, best of luck the rest of the way. I know we're missing some bling.
100%. We'll try to do the best we can to get it done.
All right, so that does it for this week's Soxcast. For Will Tucker, I'm Tim Best signing off. Thanks for tuning in, Blue Sox Nation. We'll catch you next week.